As you can imagine, one of the most important steps in the sales process is the budget. And so this presentation is going to go through the budget step so that we can feel more comfortable when dealing with the money. As you can imagine, if we do not focus on this step and really master this step, well, then the money will not translate ultimately into our pockets as sales professionals. So we need to get very comfortable. My name is Lance King. I'm the Vice President of Sales at Healthcare Compliance Solutions, Inc. And here is our office number and my personal email address if you have any questions at all. Well, we're going to quickly recap a previous training where we've gone through some of the milestones of the sales process, specifically the intro, the body, the close, and referrals. But specifically, as indicated with the red arrow, we will be talking about budget. And under budget, I have that we only get into price, and we only get into this after we've gone through the PAS approach, where we've analyzed the problem, the alternative, and the solution. Well, just a rehash of this approach. So again, we lead with the problems. We want people to feel that there is a real need to incorporate a culture of compliance. And there really is a problem where one of the problems is many of the offices throughout the United States, they do not see the severity of not incorporating a culture of compliance. And certainly that's the ideal, but my goodness, one of the #1 fines in the industry has to deal with practices, not even training, where 10 days after they're hired, they should have training on these compliance regulations. The problem, of course, in the case of us visiting practice managers is that, well, time is a problem, money is a problem, turnover is a problem. There are several issues and implications of those issues. We need to understand what they are so we can move them into understanding what the alternatives to those issues are, to the problems. So, okay, you don't have money for training? Well, what's it going to take to train in the office? You can't train in the office, but you have money. Well, how much is that really going to cost you? And of course, our solution, which really is, and I think that you'd agree, in terms of the balance of how much time it takes for them, the support that they receive, and the money that they actually have to pay for these solutions is remarkably low. So remarkable that we have sales reps all over the country, and we just are so grateful that you're tuned in to gain a little bit more mastery on this budget principle, this budget step. Is this not the case when we begin talking about compliance? That initially we begin asking, hey, who is overseeing compliance of the practice? I don't know. Are you the compliance officer? I guess so. I'm the office manager. Or in the case of a doctor, well, I guess I oversee it. But the more we talk about what's happening, it's apparent they're confused on how to move forward. Well, they're overwhelmed is typically what you find out very quickly. Just like the neighbor down the street was overwhelmed, we have a solution. But when we start walking them through the sales process, this is kind of a next emotional state as we start unpacking all of the issues that surface as a result of not being compliant. They begin to feel the gravity of how this impacts their patients. They begin to feel the gravity of what they're supposed to be doing in their position, to where they get disturbed, and we want them to get disturbed. I talked with an office manager just the other day who said, my goodness, Lance, I just am so frustrated that this office manager that was here about 1.5 years ago just did not do anything. And now I have to pick up the pieces. Well, we like to say we make the pieces fit so that they don't have to. And so that's really where our solution lies. Now, quite often, we will get people jumping ahead, and they'll see that we're a salesperson, and they'll jump into what is the price. Well, really, the first of these two questions are the only one. Really, the first question here is the main question that I ask before I actually go through the PAS approach. I'm willing to entertain the first question, which is, what will you do if the investment is higher than you expect? Okay, what will these people do? That's really the movement. Is we're trying to help people to be aware of how big of a problem it is throughout the country, how it is impacting our nation when they determine that their office is not going to move forward. So we want to get a commitment. Hey, what are you willing to do? Like, what's going to happen if you determine that this investment is too high? And of course, people need to know that we're willing to work with them. Second, again, after you've gone through the PAS approach, great question to ask when they bring up the price, when appropriate. Are you committed to solving these problems? And so I guess before that, a good segue into that would be, what would you do if the investment is higher than you expected? Talk through that, and then move into, okay, well, do you mind if I ask you some questions just to determine if we could be a good fit? And then I'd love to show you what the price is for the solutions that we provide. And then after you've done that, okay, and are you committed to solving these problems? So there are some transitions there. And please put a 1 in the comments below if this has been helpful for you, these couple of questions. Okay, so then we've presented our solutions. We've gone through the program, and they've seen what we provide. Great question, very simple question. Samantha, it appears that what you are hoping for us to do is provide an online training portal, provide compliance binders, and provide compliance implementation support. Is that correct? Is there anything else there? So this question is really just, and you can stack the deck as high as you want to. I just brought up 3 of the main points for simplicity. There are things that you're going to find out specific to their office that are going to be more important to them, such as the implementation support. That may be huge. They may find that you may find that they've had binders that have sat on their desk, 1.5 inches thick, 3 or 4 of them, and it's caused some serious paralysis where they haven't known really how to move forward, how to really unpack what's required. So again, Samantha, it appears that what you are hoping for us to do is da-da-da-da-da-da. And again, hoping is a soft close that suggests that we're going to move forward, but that we're still exploring this as an option together. So then in the budget step, well, Samantha, do you have a budget set aside for compliance? Okay, so now let's move into this. Okay, what you may imagine is that there are typically a few different responses. First, no, I don't have a budget. Second, yes, I have a budget. Third, yes, I have a budget, but I'm not going to tell you. Okay, those are the people that maybe still have their arms folded. Maybe we moved too quickly in the sales process to where the budget step wasn't appropriate. Well, let's go through each of these, okay? First one, no, I don't have a budget. Now, great question to ask is that's not unusual. How are you planning to move forward? Okay, and again, you've talked about some of the alternatives, so Maybe they want to go back to one of the alternatives. And so maybe you need to begin exploring again, what is that alternative really saying to your time and to your resources and to your patients and to your reputation? And what are other issues and implications that can surface as a result? Okay, now I'm going to go through an example of this and an example of the second one in just a minute to show you how to transition. Second is, yes, I have a budget. A great question. Do you mind sharing it with me in round numbers? Okay, well, I have, underline, sharing and round numbers. Okay, go ahead and comment below. Why is it that I've determined that those are going to be good words in this particular portion of the sales process? What is it about those words? Go ahead and comment below. Okay, so do you mind sharing? Okay, who doesn't like to share? Isn't that a comfortable word? It kind of makes you seem more like a person. Okay, so that's one. Those are a few reasons. And then round numbers. Certainly you want to get specific, but right here, all we're really trying to do is kind of bracket. We're trying to disseminate and distill and get a rough estimate so that we can narrow what this is really going to cost. Okay, and regardless of what they tell you, it's a problem. It's probably not going to be enough. What they've given you in terms of the issues and the implications is going to cost a lot. And what we have as a solution may not be enough initially. It may, but it may not. So regardless of what they share with you in round numbers, we need to say, hey, I think that might be a problem. I don't, you've shared a lot with us. And again, in the example I'm going to go with you, it'll demonstrate how to transition. This third one, though, I'm going to break 3 points down for you. And this is, and then the second example in just a minute, it'll give you enough of a transition to move out of this. So yes, I have a budget, but I'm not going to tell you. So first things first. Hey, that makes sense. We need to help people feel like we're people, okay? We're empathetic. And they've put up a big wall right here saying, yeah, I'm going to safeguard myself. I'm not going to let you've gone far enough. Okay, you've exposed things and I've put up a wall and I don't feel comfortable sharing anything else. Okay, so okay, yeah, that makes sense. As you've seen, we have several solutions to even address some of the issues there. Let me just ask, do you see yourself fitting within $1,200 or maybe closer to $3,500 for your budget? Okay, so again, you're just trying to get a zone. And below, which do you think they're going to think we are going to be priced at? Closer to the $1,200 or closer to the $3,500? I'm just curious. Is the prospect thinking that we're asking this question because it's going to be more like the $1,200 price or closer to the $3,500? Appreciate you putting those answers and communicating what's going on. I want you to be engaged in this presentation as much as possible. Okay, so they're probably going to think it's going to be in the higher end, right? And so hopefully in the example I'll show you in just a minute, I'll present it well enough to where it helps them to be pleasantly surprised when we're $1,200, because again, that makes us feel more like a person. And it's a great starting place. Yes, it could be closer to $3,500 if we need to be more intimately involved. We do have the ability to get consultants if they have to be the substitute practice manager. Okay. Great picture of a wall. And again, we're trying to break through those walls by asking those soft close types of words and having softer verbiage and being more empathetic helps people to pull those walls down. Okay. Let's say that in the next little bit, they think our price is expensive. Empathize with them. Okay. The price is expensive. Well, certainly it is expensive, but our customers have found that when they considered that it was only $100 a month for the first year to protect their patients, and then the amount of the amount it reduces the next year, that it was worth it to make this small investment, and that it was an investment in their operation, in the day-to-day operations, because so much of compliance fit right with that culture of compliance, and it provided a different type of atmosphere where people were more accountable and more forthright and doing more for the patients, and they felt like things were more for the protection and the health care of the patient. So there are a number of things that you can do, but again, we want to break down these barriers and these walls by using soft statements, things that feel empathetic. So getting into the first budget example. So again, do you have a budget set aside for this? No. That's not unusual. How are you planning to move forward? I don't know. Well, has the office made any purchases in the last year or so? Yes, they have. Did you budget for that, or did you simply identify the need and act? Sounds about right. Oh, that sounds familiar. It's very common for practices not to have money budgeted for everything, and that's kind of like our lives are. You don't budget for everything all the time, but you do the best that you can. Most of our customers have an approval process, though, and would you mind helping me to understand what your approval process would be like with this purchase? Okay, so this is an example, just to help them to see that, hey, they've probably made some other purchases that were based on necessity. And when we, have unpacked the need and the urgency for this, they're going to see that this is something that coincides with other decisions they've made. Now, above, I have an if not. So if they haven't made any of the purchases, you may consider asking if they have a continued education budget, because for them to keep up their license, they need continuing education. So can you imagine that they likely have a budget, even though it wasn't called compliance? Budget example number 2. Okay, do you have a budget set aside for this? Yes. Do you mind sharing it with me in round numbers? $500. Well, we've got a problem. Based on what you've told me with it looks like it's going to be more like 2,000 or 2,000 to 2,500. I'll tell you what, you come up a little, and we'll come down a little. Okay, 1,500. How about we start with our 1189 base package? This is what most of our customers do, and then we'll see how intimately involved we need to be. Sometimes practices, they'll get in motion with things, and then they find that it helps to have a consultant that can be a little bit more hands-on, where maybe they're doing things monthly with the practice. So we'll see, and we have consultants that can bill you for hours as needed. But and then the prospect says, "Well, okay, well, yeah, that sounds great. I mean, what would the next steps be?" Or you could say, $11.89 base price. We'll see how involved we need to be, and would you like to know what the next steps are? Okay, and then you simply walk through the new client order process. Okay, does this make sense? Is this helpful for you? If this is helpful, drop a 2 in the comment section below. Okay, now the new client order process. Let's go through that. Is that okay? So you go to hcsiinc.com, go to healthcare providers, pricing order renew, new client order, and then of course, before we even say the price again, build it up. Okay, again, you're going to get the online portal. The online portal is going to have your training. You'll be able to track the progress of all your staff. It's going to have your risk assessment for HIPAA and OSHA. We've had a lot of people who have had patients turn them in for OSHA, and we've dealt with that a lot. So that's going to be an important risk assessment there, as I've mentioned earlier. And then you'll have all the forms that'll be customized. You'll be able to download those, and they're just simple templates for you to fill out as needed. And we gave some examples earlier. And then all the updates that we send you, we put in the online portal. So you'll have the online portal, then you'll have the compliance binders. You'll have a resource binder, a binder for compliance certificates, a binder for business associate contracts, and your compliance plans binder if you're ever audited. And in that case, you'll be able to show a history of everything that you've been doing in a very organized binder. And then lastly, you have an implementation support. A support person that will be contacting you throughout the year. You'll also have mailers, emails, and you can email and call us as well. All of that for $1,189, or about $100 a month, and $3 per employee. Okay. Now, if they say, well, do you have a way of breaking that up into payments? Okay. Ask them the question back so they can hear it. Okay. You want us to break this up into payments? Okay. I think it's important that they hear that. Sometimes people just ask that question just to ask it, right? So ask them that question again, and then if they ask if it's an absolute situation where, because we hear all the time, hey, I've got this machine I just purchased, and can I get this broken up into payments? Well, they can do that. We just put a credit card on file, and then we bill them once every month for the next 3 months until it's paid off. So I'm putting that out there. I've never even done that, because think about it this way. So payments. So I understand. Yeah, payments. You've got a lot that you're paying for. Seriously though, if I had to negotiate payments on a mortgage payment that I know I need to make, I'd be worried about being able to go home. And if there's any of you that are renting out there, imagine asking if the monthly payment that you make, again, that paying for that month, asking to break that up into payments. Okay, you may not have a place to stay when you come home if you're asking for that kind of an allowance. Yes, there are some circumstances, but the point I'm really trying to make is I haven't had to have payments at all. And I really think you'll be just fine. Okay, they really do have $11.89. Okay, and when you have made it seem like they're going to need a lot more money, like $2,500, they're going to love you for saying $1,189. Okay, it's less than the $1,200 that you originally asked when you were bracketing. So then you ask them how many staff, and whether they have office, the approval process is that they need to go to a doctor, and the partners and present this, or whether it's the doctor, okay? Go through this process with them, okay? And then you need to check right here, okay, if you have opened up an account and showed them a test account and then just simply gone to pricing, order, renew, the cookies in the computer are going to say, oh, this client wants to renew, so it'll show renewal prices right here. But you want to move them forward in case you're able to purchase on the spot, right? Okay, and how many of you, drop a 3 in the comments below if you're going to work every single time to close same day. Okay, every single day. The first time you sit down with them, you're going to work toward this close. So if you're at the office, if you're with the office manager, one way to say this is, okay, there's 2 screens that you fill out. The first screen, you'll put your office name and then the address and all the other information. You'll put an email address where we can send your confirmation email. It'll have the login codes for the administrator who's going to set up the account. And they don't need to do that today. The administrator can set up the account another day, but this is just, hey, let's get the account open. And so the next screen is just a credit card to pay for the account. And if there are no other questions, do you have any questions about this? Okay, great. Well, and if there aren't any other questions and you guys are ready to move forward, then what is, let's see, let's start with the address of where we'll be sending this. Okay, and then just start typing everything out and go to proceed. Okay, and how'd you like to take care of the payment today? Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover. Okay, and so that'll be the second screen. Okay, and you do that with the office manager or the doctor. Okay, if you have heard that they need to talk to the doctor, just say, well, with the credit card screener, if they stop you, just, oh, well, do you think they could come over here for just a minute and we'll just share real quickly what we're doing? Okay, see if they do have that as an opportunity. If they really don't, and you truly have gotten ahead of yourself, and you've got to play this out by ear. You don't want to be rude and insensitive and seem like, you know, you don't want to be that salesman that nobody would want around, but you do want to make every opportunity to close the sale same day, okay? Because after you leave, the emotion of that pain, the emotion that they're feeling, it's gone. And you're going to have to work to get that emotion up over the phone or the next time you come in. So let's do this right. Go through the process and close them first time. All right. I'm Lance King. I am happy to answer any questions about this process. I'm happy to role play with you. Okay. The number you're seeing below is the office number. If at any time you have any questions and I can't get to you, if it's ever questions about the program, call and talk with support first. If you have any specific compliance questions where you want to understand the laws, okay, don't call me. Call our support. Get a feel for what kind of questions that how they would answer questions, because that'll help you to familiarize yourself with the team that's going to be serving our customers. This is a training on budget, dealing with the money, and I am just so grateful that you've tuned in today. Grateful again that you're part of the team. We have a lot of new team members that have recently come on. And the last thing I'll say is, being that it is the first of a new month, remember to send your sales trackers in for this last month so we can get you paid so that you can deal with your money. Okay, that's all I've got. I hope you make it a great day.